Right then, you lot. Ever wondered what's lurking beneath the surface of those massive lumbering things they call cargo ships? Well, neither have I, really. We're going to take a deep dive, not literally mind you, wouldn't want to get my shoes wet, into the fascinating or perhaps just slightly dull world of cargo ships. Buckle up, it's going to be a bumpy ride. First up, we've got your common or garden container ship. Now, these behemoths are essentially the workhorses of the sea. See that container, and that one over there? Yep, they're all exactly the same size, like a school uniform for cargo, really. Makes loading and unloading a doddle, apparently. The sheer scale of these things is mind-boggling. We're talking ships so big they could house a small country, or at least a very large village. And they're packed to the gills with everything from iPhones to inflatable paddling pools. All that tat you buy online? Yeah, it probably arrived on one of these. The efficiency of these things is quite something, I'll grant you that. They can unload and reload in a matter of hours, thanks to those massive cranes that look like they could pick up a whole football stadium. It's all very clever, really, but not terribly exciting to watch, I'm afraid. Still, someone's got to move all this stuff around the world, and it's not going to be me, is it? I'd rather stick needles in my eyes than spend a week on one of these things. The container ship, a marvel of modern engineering, or a floating traffic jam, you decide. Next, we've got the bulk carriers. Now, these are the slightly less glamorous cousins of the container ship. They haul around all the boring stuff nobody wants to think about. You know, things like coal, grain, iron ore. The sort of things that make the world go round, but nobody wants to talk about at parties. Imagine a giant metal bathtub floating on the ocean. That's essentially what a bulk carrier is. They've got these huge open holds where they chuck all the loose cargo. No fancy containers here. Oh no, just mountains of stuff piled high. It's a dirty business hauling this stuff around, and not exactly glamorous, but someone's got to do it. These ships might not be much to look at, but they're the backbone of global trade. Without them, we'd all be freezing in the dark, starving and naked. So next time you see a bulk carrier, give it a little nod of appreciation. Now, this is where things start to get a bit more interesting. Tankers, my friends, are the behemoths of the sea that carry all the good stuff. And by good stuff, I mean things that go boom and smell funny. We're talking crude oil, petrol, diesel, chemicals, and all sorts of other delightful concoctions. Imagine a giant floating petrol station. That's essentially what a tanker is. They've got these massive tanks inside, all carefully segregated to prevent any unfortunate mixing of, say, sulfuric acid in your morning orange juice. These things are vital for keeping the world running. Without tankers, we'd all be stuck on horseback, communicating by carrier pigeon. Right, now we're getting into the really chilly stuff, literally. LNG and LPG carriers are purpose-built for transporting liquefied natural gas and liquefied petroleum gas. All I know is they have to keep them incredibly cold, or they tend to, shall we say, expand rapidly. These ships are essentially giant thermos flasks, keeping their volatile cargo at temperatures that would make a penguin shiver. We're talking minus 162 degrees Celsius for LNG. Needless to say, safety is paramount on these vessels. One spark, one tiny malfunction, and you've got yourself a barbecue that could rival the surface of the sun. But someone's got to keep the lights on, and these ships are playing an increasingly important role in the global energy mix. So let's just be thankful for the brave souls who sail these floating refrigerators. Ah, the general cargo ship, the trusty old workhorse of the seas. These ships are the Swiss Army knives of the maritime world, capable of carrying just about anything you can imagine. Unlike those posh container ships with their standardized boxes, general cargo ships are all about flexibility. They've got these massive holds that can be configured in all sorts of ways to accommodate everything from bags of coffee beans to tractors. Loading and unloading these ships is a bit like playing Tetris with real-life objects. Cranes swing back and forth, forklifts scurry about, and burly men in hard hats shout at each other in languages you've never even heard of. It's all very exciting in a chaotic sort of way, but hey, someone's got to move all the weird and wonderful stuff that doesn't fit into a neat little container. So next time you see a general cargo ship, give it a salute. Now, here's a type of ship that even I can get behind. RoRo, which stands for roll-on/roll-off, is exactly what it sounds like. These ships are designed to let vehicles drive on and off, no cranes or awkward lifting required. It's like a giant floating car park, except instead of going to the shopping center, you're crossing the Atlantic. Imagine a multi-story car park, but instead of concrete and pigeons, it's steel and the smell of salt spray. That's a Ro-Ro ship in a nutshell. They've got these massive ramps that lower down onto the dock, allowing everything from tiny hatchbacks to colossal mining trucks to drive on and off with ease. No more tedious loading and unloading of containers, just pure, unadulterated automotive efficiency. Right then, let's talk about reefer ships. No, they're not named after a certain herb that's popular in certain circles. These are the ships responsible for transporting all the perishable goodies that keep us from subsisting on gruel and hardtack. We're talking fresh fruit, vegetables, meat, fish, dairy products, basically anything that goes off quicker than a politician's promises. Imagine a giant floating refrigerator, but instead of leftover takeaway and flat beer, it's packed with enough fresh produce to feed a small army. That's a reefer ship in a nutshell. They've got these massive refrigerated cargo holds that keep everything at the perfect temperature, ensuring your bananas arrive ripe and your ice cream doesn't turn into soup. These ships are a marvel of modern logistics, allowing us to enjoy fresh food from all corners of the globe. So next time you bite into a juicy steak or savor a perfectly ripe mango, spare a thought for the reefer ships that made it all possible. Now for the real heavy hitters of the cargo world. Heavy lift ships are the behemoths designed to transport the kind of cargo that would make a normal crane cry for its mummy. We're talking massive oil rig platforms, gigantic wind turbine blades, entire prefabricated buildings, even other ships. These vessels are basically floating engineering marvels. They often have enormous open decks and sophisticated ballast systems that allow them to submerge partially, like a whale coming up for air, to float their ungainly cargo into position. Imagine a giant metal spider carrying off a skyscraper. That's about as close as I can come to describing the sheer awe-inspiring spectacle of a heavy lift ship in action. Now, this is where things get a bit more fragrant. Livestock carriers are the ships responsible for transporting live animals across the globe. We're talking cows, sheep, pigs, chickens, the whole farmyard. Now, I'm not sure I envy the crew on these vessels. Imagine the smell, the noise, the constant threat of a stampede. It's enough to turn you vegetarian. These ships are essentially floating farms, equipped with all the necessary pens, feeding systems, and ventilation to keep their mooing, buying, and clucking passengers alive and well. So next time you tuck into a juicy burger, spare a thought for the livestock carriers and their rather pungent cargo. Finally, we come to the ultimate in maritime versatility, the multi-purpose vessel, or MPV, for those in the know. These ships are the jacks of all trades of the cargo world, capable of carrying a mix of everything we've already discussed, and then some. Imagine a ship that could carry containers one day, bulk cargo the next, and then transform into a Ro-Ro vessel the day after that. That's the beauty of an MPV. They're designed for maximum flexibility, allowing them to adapt to whatever cargo needs moving, wherever it needs to go. The MPV, the ultimate testament to human ingenuity and the need to move stuff from A to B, no matter how weird, wonderful, or downright smelly that stuff might be. There you have it. A whirlwind tour of the weird, wonderful, and occasionally pungent world of cargo ships. If you're still awake after all that and somehow find yourself craving more nautical nonsense, then be a good lad or ladette and give us a follow on our Facebook page. Until next time, keep your stick on the ice and try not to fall overboard. Channel co-subscribed care. Suhail Khan Official 07.